What if I told you the reality you're experiencing right now is not as fixed as it seems? What if I told you that your health, your wealth, and your relationships are not happening to you, but more through you? Well, society tells us in modern society that we're a combination of our circumstances and our genes, and that our destiny is predetermined. But what if that's an outdated idea? Well, in this video, we are going to go through why that's an outdated idea and how we can stop being bystanders in our lives and start being co-creators. So, within modern quantum physics, there is a theory called the observer effect, okay? And the observer effect basically shows that the observer in an experiment, having an observer and knowing you're in an experiment, changes the experiment itself. So the observer is not a bystander of the experiment, the observer becomes a co-creator in the experiment. So today we're going to show how quantum physics and that theory relates to our spirituality and how we can become co-creators instead of bystanders in our environment and take the reins of our lives and be more than a byproduct of our genes and circumstances. You create your reality, and we're going to show you how to do it in this video. So stick with me to the end because that's when we're going to tie it all together. You may have noticed in your own life that sometimes there are repeating patterns or loops that you go in, right? You only get this successful, or only make this much money, or only get this far in relationship before it falls apart, or heaven forbid, you get in the same fight with your family every single year. Well, we've talked about in our other videos this idea of the upper limit. Now, what defines the upper limit? Well, your belief about what's possible. In quantum physics, it shows that there are infinite possibilities in the enormous field. But when you are on an unconscious loop that is constantly setting your upper bar to here, you can only rise to your upper bar because that's all you feel like is possible. And sometimes that's an unconscious loop. That's a loop where we have just accepted that we have to struggle to succeed, or we have accepted that we're just different than them and it's not possible. Well, it is possible. Anything is possible that you decide is possible. What's true to you is going to be what you decide is true to you. So the field of infinite possibility, right, is one where you can decide there's one version of you that struggles, and then there's another version of you that is wildly successful. And what determines where you go is what you believe and what you tune your attention to. So it's really working with those subconscious beliefs. Now, how do we do that? How do we work with subconscious beliefs? But the fact that they're subconscious and a programming is telling us that we don't actually know that they are happening. They're underground deciding things for us without us having that understanding. Well, we start to observe them, right? So if you tune into your life and you start to think, I'm going to be the observer. And so when I become the observer of my reality, I implement the same thing as the observer effect. I change the formula of the experiment. So I've observed in my finances, I only ever make this much. Or I've observed in my relationships, I only go to here. Now, by being the observer of the experiment, you are taking a look at the subconscious beliefs that you actually had. Like maybe you believe that, what is it, right? Here are some possibilities. I'm not really worthy or ready of true love. My self-worth, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and I'm worried that everyone's going to find out I don't know what I'm doing. And so I don't value me, so they don't value me, right? So what are those things in your lives that practically you can see are patterns that you raise to the top to and then back down from? Now, I know that I've worked a lot with this in my life, and to bring the subconscious or the shadow into the light, all you have to do is name it and claim it, right? But it does take a little bit of observation. So notice the places where you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you failed multiple times, or you feel like you can't get ahead. And then as the observer, put them in the center. Don't let them hide in the shadows with shame and guilt, right? There's nothing but a lesson there for you. And when you embrace your failures as lessons or your shortcomings as areas where you can give attention to in order to grow, then it's not in the subconscious. You've taken it from the subconscious into the light to be the observer. So with that, put it in the center. Sit with the uncomfortable feelings and take a walk around it and see, maybe add some journal topics. Say like, what is that? What are the beliefs I have around that? And oh my gosh, I feel like I'm not worthy here. I feel like I don't belong over here. Wow. Well, now that we've named it, we've claimed it, and they are out of the shadow and they're out of the subconsciousness. So from there, we can use the quantum physics observer effect to say, where my attention goes, my energy flows, right? And in the field, I had been saying those things to myself. Either I knew it or I didn't know it. Either way, it doesn't matter. I was saying it. So I'm going to change my inner monologue to myself. I'm going to be a better friend to myself. And I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to notice it when it comes up. And I'm going to say, oh, there's that thought, that limiting thought that has determined where I could go. But not anymore. I don't believe that thought. Because why? Because I'm an observer. So if I'm an observer of a thought, then that thought has to be separate than me, right? It's not me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to observe it. But once we brought it out of the shadow and the subconscious into the consciousness, we are observing it. And so that means that we have a choice whether we choose it and choose to pay attention to it, or whether we change the way our attention goes. So once we do that, we can tune into our infinite possibilities in the field. We can say, you know what, I am worthy, and I learn things as I go. And I feel like when I get there, I will just figure out the next right thing for me. I know I'm worthy of love. I have a lot of people that I love that feel really loved by me, and I deserve the same. I belong because I'm here. I don't have to do anything to qualify it. Now, when we turn our attention to, I'm not worthy, I don't belong, I'm not good enough, and we take it to, I love really well, and I am able to figure things out as I go along and add value everywhere I go, then all of a sudden, guess what? Other people start to value us more. Other people start to love us more. We get better job offers. We have more creative power. The infinite potential is tapped into. So you, as the observer, you have so much power, right? You get to decide where you're going. You're not just a bystander in this reality, and you don't have to take all the chaos going around you, right? You get to guide your ship. You are in charge of the ship. But it does matter that you know the subconscious and the shadow reels that are going on and what your beliefs are. So if this information is helpful for you, please feel free to share it with a friend, like, subscribe, or leave a comment below. I'd love to know more about your journey, what you're up to, and where you are, and see if I can be with you on this path or just support you in it, because we're all doing this together. Once you have brought the subconscious into the light and realize you're the observer, right? Now you're the ship. Now you're driving it. So there are some crucial shifts that we need to make after that point to help you to steer right to where you want to go. So the first is to move from the energy of wanting to the energy of already having something, right? How many of you feel like you would like to move into abundance, but you're not there yet? Well, one mindset shift that's really important is for you to tune into all the abundance that's already around you, and to tune into the energy and frequency of already having it and the gratitude and feelings associated with that. So that's an intellectual mind shift. So instead of saying, gosh, I wish that I had a stack of cash in my hand right now, I'm actually waking up in my very, very soft bed with my luxurious sheets and the warm environment. Then I go take a warm, long shower. Then I have organic coffee. And then I have time to meditate. I feed my family nourishing foods. Those are such blessings. That is the energy of having abundance. But you have to tune your attention to it instead of constantly thinking, I don't have a stack of cash in my hand. Where's that cash? Not there. Can't wait till it's there. That's putting up resistance in your field. So we go from the intellectual mind shift of wanting to already having, and then from that shift, we can build on that to the energy of feeling it. So once I do start to tune into all my blessings, I feel so much gratitude. I have everything now that I once wanted, truly. And if I pay attention to that, I feel so grateful. I feel so abundant. I am not thinking about what I'm not wanting or what I'm wanting and hasn't come yet. I'm actually tuning into the I am feeling. I am abundant right now. I am so grateful. I am in progress on the way to all that I want and need. And so I don't have to tune into that frequency of lack, right? And without tuning into the frequency of lack, I'm not drawing it towards me. So what would you do? How would you feel if everything that you once wanted was already here now? Would you feel freedom? Would you feel joy? Would you feel relaxed? Would you feel open? What would you feel? Embody those feelings now. Take it from something that's in the future to embodying it now, and the universe will have no choice but to match that vibration. And the truth is that we have so much to be grateful for. And when we're grateful, we're actually creating, right? And so take it from what hasn't happened that you're not happy about to what's going to happen that you'll be happy when you have those things, to creating your own reality here and now and feeling the feelings of what you want, so that what you want has no choice but to come and match you. Then once you've gotten there, once you're in the I am state of being, you're going to ask yourself, okay, how would I feel when I wake up in the morning is our first question, right? I'd feel joyful. I'd feel expectant. I'd feel excited for the day. I'd feel free to do what I want. We're going to get into those feelings. And then we're going to ask ourselves, how can we take aligned action in those feelings, right? How can we implement what we already wanted to do when we get there? Before we thought it was out there. In the future, we'll take these actions. But how can we embody them here and now with those feelings to do our part to show that we're actually already living in the reality of what we want? It's not in the past and it's not in the future. It's here now. We are already embodying it and further projecting that into the field of infinite possibilities for it to be able to come and meet us. And then after we get to that level, which is such a beautiful place to be, where you're not thinking about everything you don't have, you're really embodying everything you do have. And then the next thing is just to surrender, right? Just know that you've done your part. You've already done it. If you've gone through those mindset shifts and those shifts, and that's where you are, it is done. Your part is now just to keep living happily and gracefully and easefully, thinking easeful thoughts, being a co-creator of your reality, living in the embodied feelings of what you want, and then everything else, the universe is going to come in to meet you. So all you have to do then is just surrender. It's done. No one can take it from you. It may not come in the ways that you anticipated, but it is coming. It's done. It's only a amount of time. So you just have to be a conscious creator of your reality. Bring things from the subconscious into the consciousness. Go from lack and deprivation mentality to knowing you already have all the potential in your hands. Then start feeling the feelings of what you want and taking action in them just like you would if you were a cajillionaire, right? I think we all want that. And then let it be. No, you're on the right track. It'll all come in divine time, and keep the faith. And part of keeping the faith is surrendering and trusting and relaxing. You don't have to work out how it's going to come. You just have to do the other parts and it will come to meet you. So it is such a pleasure for me to be on this journey with you, and I can't wait to see what you create with the universe. Please feel free to like, subscribe, or share this content with others. I would also love to see a comment below to see where you are in your process and be with you in it. I'm so grateful to be surrounded by people who are on the path and want to work on themselves and create a better future for not only themselves, but the good of all. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.